Hi, this is Mike from BandLab, and in this video, we're going to make a glitch hop beat in BandLab's free online DAW. You can open this project yourself with the link in the video description, and if you find this guide useful, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be the first to know when new videos drop. I begin by setting the project tempo to 105 beats per minute, and the project key to F major. Getting the right type of sounds is especially important in glitch hop, so I'd like to use some suitable samples. I open BandLab's sounds and enter glitch hop into the text search field. There's a glitch hop pack, so I open it to see what material I can use. I want to start with the beat, and glitch hop outer shaker sounds like a good jumping off point, so I drag it into the project. Next, I want to add kick and snare. I create a sampler track, then drag slider kick into the first sample pad. I drag the sample endpoint to the left of the second kick, so when we play the sample back, we just get the first kick. I then drag profit snare onto the second sample pad. I move the sample start point to the start of the first snare, and the sample endpoint to the start of the second snare. Now when we play the sample back, it'll just play one snare. I program a hip-hop style beat with snares in the second and fourth beats. I put a kick on the one, plus some extra kicks in there to keep things bumping. I duplicate this 2-bar pattern note so that it plays for the whole 4-bar clip. To duplicate notes and clips in BandLab, hold Option on Mac or Alt on Windows and drag them into their new position. I'd also like some rides, so in BandLab Sounds, I click the Loops tab and enter Ride into the text search field. TS98 Ride 8 bars has the feel I want, so I drag that into the project. I turn this track down to -3 dB to balance it with the other drum elements. Now it's time for some musical elements. I'm going to compose a chord progression to base the rest of the music around, so I create a new virtual instrument track and set it to keyboards, synth leads, 2-saw detune. I turn this track down to -8 dB. I program a progression that plays F major, F minor, a G sharp sus2 in the second inversion, and F major. This then repeats with an extra G sharp sus2 chord to make it feel rhythmically different. I'd like this part to sound glossier, so I open up the effects panel. I begin by adding a modulation stereo chorus effect. I set the rate to 7.9 and the depth to 54%. I then add a reverb, studio reverb. I set the mix to 3.3 and the size to 1.8. I want to make some room for bass in the low end, so I add a tone, EQ3M, setting the low to -7.6 dB. Now let's add that bass. I create a new instrument track and select basses, synth basses, sine bass. I turn this track down to -8 dB. This sine bass has some movement going on in the highs, but I want it to be smoothed out, so I add a tone, multi-filter, setting the frequency to around 130 Hz. This part follows the rhythm of the chords and plays the root, the fifth, the root, and the root. I'd like some extra bass sounds to beef up the existing part. I return to the glitch hop pack and decide that glitch hop terror bass has some elements that I can use. I create a new sampler track and drag the sample onto the first pad. I move the sample endpoint to the end of the first sound. I then drag the same sample onto the second pad, and this time set the start and the end markers around the second part of the sound. I sequence the first pad to play at the end of the second bar, and the second pad to play at the end of the fourth bar. I turn this track up to +2 dB. Now I'd like to add a melody. I create a new instrument track and set it to keyboards, synth leads, hardcore square unison. I turn this track down to -12 dB. I sequence a 2-bar melody that repeats over the chords. I want some vocals next, so in BandLab's Sounds, I click the Loops tab and set the instrument search filter to voice and the genre search filter to pop R&B. I like Cherry Vox 1, so I drag it into the project. BandLab automatically tunes this to the key of the project, but I'm not feeling the results, so I decide to try it at a different pitch. I double-click the audio clip to bring up the editor panel, and change the pitch shift setting from +5 to -4. I feel like this works great, but I'd like another vocal to play during the gap at the start of the sample. I change the genre filter to hip-hop/trap, and drag IJ122 chant 2-bar into the project. I shorten it to play just the first part of the sound, using the handle at the bottom right-hand corner of the audio clip. I duplicate this to play at the start of the third bar. I want to keep the arrangement high energy, so next I decide to add some effects, in particular a riser. I reset the search filters and enter riser into the text search field. Glitch Lightning Riser 02 sounds like it might be appropriate, and it is. However, I'd like to try it at a different pitch, so in the editor panel, I take it up to +5 semitones. This sounds cool, and I turn it down to -3 dB to balance it with the rest of the project. I also want an impact effect, so I enter impact into the text search field and drag Deep Impact 03 into the project. This sound has a lot of bass, but I'm only going to use it when the beats and bass aren't playing, so there's no need to filter that out aside from stylistic preference. I feel like I need another sound to help segue between sections. I'd like a snare roll, so in BandLab's Sounds, I click the One Shots tab and enter snare into the text search field. Snare 8 One Shot WC Hip Hop is the one for me, so I drag it into the project and sequence it to play for the final 4/16 notes of the section. The arrangement revolves around swapping between playing the lead line over the rest of the elements with having the vocal line play over the rest of the elements. I start with the chords and hats playing. The kick and snare come in after 4 bars. The riser leads into the bass dropping. Here the ride comes in as well. After 8 bars, the lead line comes in. the next section, the lead swaps to the vocal, and the chords drop out to make the change more dramatic. After another 8 bars, the chords come back in. Then we swap out the lead, with the chords dropping out again. Now we have a breakdown with the vocal playing over the rides. This swaps up to the chords and hats. This time around, the chords play a different progression to keep things interesting. They play F major, G sharp major, D sharp major in the first inversion, and G minor. Then we drop again with the lead, before switching up to the vocal one more time. You can fork this project and make your own version of it using the link in the video description. Have fun!